What is the loudest sound in all the world? It isn't thunder. It isn't the roar of the sea or the cry of a newborn child taking its very first breath. The loudest sound in all the world is the silence that comes after you have done something you can never, ever undo. Tonight, we travel back to the beginning of beginnings, to the first family that ever walked the earth, to the first two brothers who ever shared a meal, a roof, and a mother's love. And we ask a question that still hides inside every human heart, even yours, even mine. When something good happens to someone else and not to you, what do you do with the fire that burns in your chest? Do you let it cool, or do you let it consume you? I'm so glad you're here. You're watching Myth and Tales, where the oldest stories still have something to teach us tonight. Settle in. This one is about two brothers and a single choice that changed everything. Long ago, the gates of Eden had closed behind Adam and Eve, and now the family lived in the wide, wild world, a world of thistles and stone, of sweat and seasons. Here, nothing came easy. The ground had to be begged for every harvest. The rain came when it wished and stayed away when it pleased. And into this world, two boys were born. The first they named Cain, and when Eve held him, she wept with wonder, for he was the very first child the world had ever known. The first laugh, the first wobbling steps, the first small hand wrapped around a mother's finger. The second they named Abel, gentle, quiet, with eyes the color of evening. The brothers grew up side by side under the same wide sky. They chased each other through the long grass. They watched their father break the hard earth with his hands. They learned the names of the stars from their mother, who remembered a garden they would never see. And as they grew, each brother found his own path. Cain loved the soil. He learned its moods, its smells, the way it darkened before rain. He pressed seeds into the ground with his own fingers and watched, patient and proud, as green shoots pushed up toward the light. The earth was his whole world, and he poured his strength into it. Abel loved the flock. He led his sheep across the hills, watching over the smallest lambs as if each one were a treasure. He knew their voices. He slept beneath the stars to keep them safe. Where Cain was strong and certain, Abel was soft and watchful. Two brothers, two callings, two good and honest lives. And here's the truth at the heart of our story, the truth so easy to forget. The trouble that came did not come because one brother was a farmer and the other a shepherd. The trouble came because of something invisible, something that grows in the dark, quiet places of the heart, where no one can see it but you. There came a day when the brothers wished to say thank you. Thank you to the one who made the sky and the soil and the sheep. Thank you for the harvest, for the flock, for life itself. And so each brother brought a gift to lay upon the altar. Abel went to his flock, and he did not grab the nearest animal or the smallest or the one he cared about least. No, Abel chose the very best he had, the firstborn of his sheep, the finest of the fat. He brought his gift the way you give a present to someone you truly love, holding back nothing, choosing the best, and smiling all the while. Cain went to his fields, and he gathered some of his crops, and he brought them too. Now listen closely. because this is the part everyone rushes past. It was never about crops versus sheep. The earth's fruit is a beautiful gift. The one who made the world made the wheat as surely as the land. The difference was not in the gift. The difference was in the giving. Abel gave his best with his whole heart. Cain gave some, whatever was nearby, whatever was easy. His hands brought an offering, but his heart stayed behind, locked away. And so it was that Abel's gift was received with joy, and Cain's was not. And Cain felt it. Oh, he felt it deep in his chest. His face fell, his eyes dropped. And there, right there, in that quiet moment, a tiny ember began to glow inside him. It was small at first, so small he could have brushed it away like a spark on his sleeve. But Cain did not brush it away. He held it. He fed it. He let it grow. And then something extraordinary happened. The one who made him spoke to Cain, not in anger, not in punishment, but the way a loving parent kneels down to a hurting child and asks the kindest, hardest question of all. Why are you angry, Cain? Why has your face fallen? And then came the words, the most important words in our whole story. So important, I want you to remember them long after this video ends. If you do what is right, will you not be lifted up? But if you do not, sin is crouching at your door. It wants to have you, but you must rule over it. Do you hear what was being said? Sin, that anger, that jealousy, that growing ember, was pictured as a wild animal, crouching, waiting, right outside the door of Cain's heart, breathing low, ready to pounce. And here is the mercy, the part so beautiful it can make you cry. Cain was warned. He was told the danger was coming. He was told exactly where it waited. And, most of all, he was told the most powerful truth a person can ever hear. You can master it. You are not a leaf in the wind. You are not helpless before your own anger. The fire in your chest is real, but you hold the choice. You can rule the storm, or you can let the storm rule you. The door was still closed. The animal was still outside. Cain still had time. But the heart, once it has fed an ember, does not always listen. Let's go out to the field, Cain said to his brother. And Abel, trusting Abel, who never once imagined his own brother could harm him, walked beside him into the tall grass. They were the only two brothers in all the world. There was no one else like them anywhere. No one who had run the same hills, slept beneath the same stars, learned the names of things from the same mother. Abel was the only person on earth who knew exactly what it was to be Cain's brother. And in that field, far from home, where the grass was high and the sky was wide, the door swung open. And the thing that had been crouching outside Cain's heart, the ember he had fed and fed and fed until it became a wildfire, rose up. When it was over, Cain stood alone in the field. His brother lay still in the grass, and the silence that came after was the loudest sound in all the world. The birds did not return. The wind held its breath, and Cain, the first child ever born, the boy his mother had wept over with joy, had become something no one had ever been before. He could plant 100 seeds. He could wait 100 springs. But nothing he planted would ever bring his brother back. Some things, once broken, cannot be unbroken. And again, the voice came to Cain. And again, it came not as a roar, but as a question. Where is your brother, Abel? Now, the one who asked already knew the answer. So why ask? Because the question was a door. One last door held open. A chance for Cain to stop running, to drop the weight, to say the true and terrible thing, and finally let it out. But Cain slammed that door too. I don't know, he said. Am I my brother's keeper? Beat. Am I my brother's keeper? It is one of the oldest questions ever spoken, and Cain meant it as an excuse. Is it my job to watch over him? Is what happens to him any concern of mine? But the story gives us the answer Cain refused to see. The answer is yes. Yes, you are your brother's keeper. You are the keeper of the kid sitting alone at lunch. You are the keeper of the friend who's having a hard day. You are the keeper of the little one who looks up to you, and the older one who needs your kindness. We belong to one another. What happens to them is always our concern. That is the moral that has echoed for thousands of years, all the way down to you, watching tonight. We are meant to look after each other, always. And so, a sentence was given. The ground that Cain loved so dearly, the soil he had poured his life into, would no longer answer him the way it once had. He would become a wanderer, a restless traveler with no field to call his own, roaming the earth without rest. For the man who had loved the land, no punishment could have cut deeper. And Cain cried out, and now the fear poured out of him. My punishment is more than I can bear. I will be a wanderer, and whoever finds me will surely kill me. And here, dear watcher, the story turns in a way that has stunned hearts for thousands of years. Because you might expect that the one who is perfectly just would say, then so be it. You took a life, let your life be taken. But that is not what happened. Instead, the one who made him reached down and protected him. No, came the answer. Whoever harms Cain will answer for it. And a mark was placed upon Cain, not a mark of shame for all to mock, a mark of protection, a sign that said to all the world, this one is still under my care. Do not harm him. His life still matters to me. Think about that. The man who showed no mercy was shown mercy. The man who would not be his brother's keeper was kept. This is not the story saying that what Cain did was small or that it didn't matter. It mattered more than words can hold. The sorrow was real. The loss could never be undone. But even in the middle of justice, there was mercy. Even for the one who had fallen the furthest, a door was held open. A second chance, a breath, a life still worth protecting. And maybe that is the deepest lesson of all, the one that takes a lifetime to understand. No one is ever so lost that they are beyond all hope. Not Cain, not anyone. And so Cain rose and turned his back on his home and went out to live in a land east of Eden, a place called Nod, which means wandering. He carried the mark of mercy on his body and the weight of his choice in his heart. He built a life out there. He had children. The world went on, as the world always does. But the grass of that golden field would whisper his story to the wind for the rest of time. Two brothers, one ember left to grow, one choice that could not be unmade. So, let me ask you again, the question we began with. When something good happens to someone else, and not to you, what do you do with the fire in your chest? Because here is the secret the story has been trying to tell you all along. The fire is not the problem. Everyone feels it. Even the kindest people you know have felt that hot, jealous spark when a friend got the thing they wanted. Feeling it does not make you bad. What matters, what always matters, is what you do next. You can feed the ember, or you can let it cool. You can slam the door on someone who's hurting, or you can be your brother's keeper. You can let the wild thing rule you, or you can remember the words spoken to Cain in his very hardest moment. The words that are just as true for you tonight as they were at the beginning of the world. You must rule over it. And you can. Thank you for spending these minutes with me. If this story stirred something in you, share it with someone you care about. Be their keeper tonight. You've been watching Myth and Tales, the oldest stories, the truths that never grow old. Until next time, keep the fire warm, but never let it burn.